When black pastors are going viral for stuff like this,
you name it, Gucci, Louis, you name it.
Or this.
Beyonce just released Church Girl.
Or even worse, this.
And y'all know I asked for one last year. Here it is the whole way in August. I still ain't got it.
Meanwhile, Christian nationalist pastors are preaching sermons of hate like this.
You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. I don't care how mad that makes you. You get pissed off as you want to.
They're calling for violence.
Every single homosexual in our country, they should be sentenced with death. They should be lined up against the wall and shot in the back of the head.
And don't think for a second that just because you're a Christian that nationalism is not going to come after you.
I am sick and tired of allowing black people to get away with calling themselves Christians, and they're just black.
Christian nationalism is the religion of white supremacy. They have colonized Christ, they've gentrified Jesus, and now they're trying to tell us that what we need to do is to be a country that worships the God of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You know, I thought I would take the time to come out here and do a man on the street video pertaining to the economy and the Afro-American Negro being controlled by foreigners. I guess this video can serve as the introduction because I'm going to do a part 2 right across the street. I'm going to show you in a minute. Before I get to that, there's a few things that I want to say. You know, for a whole year, I've sat back and I've watched as black men on YouTube engaged in what they would classify as their YouTube beefs. Talking about each other's mothers, talking about each other's wives, talking about each other's children. Yo, mama's so fat, yuck, yuck, yuck. I had your mama last night giving out directions so they can meet up and fight. This is what these brothers did for a whole year. Going back and forth, back and forth. Meanwhile, all I've done was continue with a steady message that I have been steady and very consistent with. If you go back and review my video, No Hope, No Change for the Blacks, I told y'all my premise. I'm gonna prove to you that the black race is going backwards. In every video that I've produced since that video, which is the day after Barack Obama's second re-election, his re-election, have supported my premise. While you brothers engaged in true buffoonery, that's all I've done. Now that you Negroes have imploded and basically have consumed each other like a cancer, now y'all want to come and direct y'all's attention and try to point out to where I'm wrong in my message, which I find to be kind of comical. You have so many of these Negroes who run around saying, well, you know, brother, I deconstructed you. I deconstruct. No. You have not deconstructed anything that I've said. All you've done is prove that you disagree with me. A mere disagreement is not a deconstruction of an argument. If that's the case, hell, presidential elections would last debates would last, 10 minutes? One side would present their argument, and the other side would say, you know what, I disagree with everything he's saying. No. I'm pretty sure when I hear you brothers that a lot of y'all don't even know what the deconstruction of an argument consists of. Y'all really don't. Because in order for you to understand your position, you have to understand your opponent's position. And what lets me know that you don't understand my position is when y'all try to restate it, you all over the map. You don't say what I say. So there's no way you can deconstruct a position that you don't understand. And the reason why you don't understand it is that you completely mess up when you try to restate. Well, he said this. No. My videos are very clear. Very clear. And what I stated in No Hope, No Change for the Blacks, that the black race is going backwards, and I've been proving that in every video that I produce. And for those of you who are wondering why I'm standing in front or using this black church as a backdrop, it's because, again, it supports my hypothesis. Because that church there that you see behind me, some 5,000 members in the heart of the black community. But right next to where I'm filming this video from, a vacant building. Old restaurant building. And right next to it, right down there, is yet another vacant building. And right across the street there, in that plaza, is where we're going to do part 2 of this video. So in the heart of the black community, We have a monstrosity of a religious institution, 5,000 members, yet and still, you Negroes, y'all don't care nothing about that. Y'all won't hold these pastors accountable. These pastors come in town, take their money, and go back to the suburbs, and y'all okay with that. Just like y'all okay with y'all's economy being controlled by foreigners. And I'm gonna prove that to you when we go right across the street here and look at that whole mall there in the heart of the black community, and not one black-owned business is in there. But yet and still, you Negroes will come back and continue to try to find excuses as to why this exists. It's a free market. No, it's not a free market, because if it was a free market, these stores would be in the Asian community, they would be in the Hispanic community, they'd be in the white community, and they would be in the Jewish community. But they're not. Because those communities understand we are going to control the economy in our community. Ain't no outsiders gonna come and set up shop, because they can set up shop, but we ain't gonna support them. And they're gonna have to fold up and leave. The only place that these businesses reside and function and thrive is in your community, which is where I'm standing right now. And I'm gonna prove this to you by showing it to you. So meanwhile, while you Negroes continue with y'all YouTube beefs and y'all back and forth and y'all yuck, and y'all arguing, thinking that you're deconstructing something that you really don't understand, I'm gonna continue with this message and go forward and show you that you really don't want solutions. Because if you did, you would be using your channel to galvanize support, to get the social media on your side, Facebook, Twitter. You can galvanize a consciousness. Then you can organize and go into your local community and do the grassroots work. Y'all don't want to do that. Y'all don't want to do that. Y'all want to sit back and continue to find somebody else to blame for a mall in the heart of your community being controlled by outsiders. And this here is a microcosm of any black community across this nation, from sea to shining sea. Sea to shining sea. You'll find the same shit going on. The economy is going to be controlled by outsiders and foreigners. While you Negroes sit twiddling your thumbs and tending these institutions, making these pastors rich, paying for his automobile, his suits, his home in the suburbs, even his strippers. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what else to tell y'all. But at the end of the day, for all you brothers who sit back and continue to make y'all response videos and y'all can do what y'all do, it really don't make me no difference. I will have something to say when you decide to take my video or take my image and use it in your video, which is a violation of YouTube policy. You know that. I had even one of these Negroes talking about, well, you use thumbtails. Well, yeah, there's custom thumbtails. Now, in the one video that I have of Martin Luther King, if Martin Luther King was to come up from down there and say, hey, I got a problem with this brother using my image, then he could file a copyright grievance and YouTube will take the video down. But you can't use my image, that's me. So of course, yes, I'm gonna flag that. I'm gonna ask them to remove my image from your video. I mean, why you want my pretty face on your video? See, at the end of the day, you brothers don't want solutions. And I've said this, and it's been proven time and time again, because y'all refuse to get into y'all's local community and do the work. Y'all want to spend y'all time on YouTube creating YouTube beefs, arguing back and forth. These are grown fucking men. Grown ass fucking men talking about each other's mother. You ugly, you fat. This is grown men. These aren't kids doing this shit. These are men. I ain't got time for that. And I sat back and I watched y'all do that shit for a whole year, while I continued like the little engine that could, pushing out this message that you going backwards, dude, because you don't control the economy in your community, and you continually support a political party who don't give a damn about you and whose policies are diametrically opposed to your advancement. I've been very consistent. Then you get the Negro who say, well, you say the same thing. Well, thank you. That's consistency. That's equivalent to going to your Dr. King saying, listen, man, when are you going to stop talking about integration? When are you going to stop talking about segregation? Well, I'll stop talking about segregation when we integrate. Oh, okay. Oh, that's how that works. Yeah, that's how that works. When the conditions change, the message changes. And as long as the conditions remain the same, the message has to remain the same. Y'all going backwards. And there's no better place that documents that outside of the black community but the black community on YouTube.
Greetings and salutations. This is BIGJXXX. Now, I'm going to play the role of the villain for this video. And it's not because to attack Christianity. I'm not going to blaspheme God. and the institutions that serve God. But one thing though I do notice, when it comes to 500 years of fighting oppression, fighting segregation and injustice, networking with those who desired their just position in this society with dignity and respect. That was the black church. It doesn't matter which black church. We can talk about the free church, the Freeman Church of Pennsylvania, namely Philadelphia, when they was trying to end slavery. I can sit here and talk about the church in South Carolina that was the hotbed for abolition. The same church that Dylan Roof murdered the churchgoers at that particular institution. Every church in the black community, talking about the older heads, the older churches, have one time and another have been the bulwark of freedom, justice, and equality. But sadly today, we got the black church that's more willing to fight pop stars, willing to steal money from the churchgoers. We having pastors who go around and harassing the pews to buy Rolex watches from Walmart. We got that going around. I want y'all to check the links, by the way, as I'm about to get down here. Now, Christianity always tell people, you know, you got to meet people where they are. You got to meet people where they lay. Now I'm sitting here looking at Bishop Patrick Woolen going after Beyonce over a album she just recently put out, where she talk about taking while she sampled a gossip song and tried to make a song about how church girls are quote unquote real fours. We got a pastor named Bishop Whitehead. Got robbed in New York while talking about his prayer room, and you go into his prayer room, you see clothes that's really suited for kings. And then they wonder why. They wonder why black men don't go to church no more. Then they wonder why the pews get smaller and smaller every year. But they don't sit there and understand a couple things. We got more oppression issues today. We got bigger fish to fry. Now, I've been watching the evangelical community for the past 25 years. I'll say during the time when Bill Clinton and the Monica Lewinsky thing popped up, right? An evangelical community since 1996 on up till today preached the gospel of the tribulation, the gospel of Armageddon. And these same people who teach that will get into government buildings, namely the White House, namely the Pentagon and the State Department, like your John Hagleys of the world, like your other pastors who tried to foment wars against other nations. And on top of that, we got the Christian dominism, or should I call it the Christian nationalism. Now, Christian nationalism is a Christian fascist, and it's like what somebody said though the other day. I think that was Sinclair. Trying to remember the author's name, where he said that fascism will arrive in America, with a cross wrapped in the American flag. But what is the black church is doing in this respect? The black church is doing nothing. Because they lost their goal of what is to maintain a society, maintain a community, and to build one. That's why you see me having these pictures of Martin Luther King. Now, one of those pictures of Martin Luther King playing pool. Now, one of those pictures happened in the 1950s. The latter ones I'm showing happened in 1966 at a pool joint. And back then, you have pastors, you have people back then who said, well, the pool halls are the portals to Satan. People back then would say playing pool, and that's if you believe in the early 20th century Christians think. They say playing pool was a game for sinners. But Dr. Martin Luther King went to the pool hall and played pool. Why did he play pool? Well, maybe because he enjoyed it. And in those pictures, it probably seemed he have. But if you are a church, and if there are dangers out there in the world, that's why the church said, the Bible said, come as you are. That's why it said, though, in the other parts of the Bible, listen, nobody is perfect. Moses was a murderer. Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. Some of the other figures in the Bible, even some of the disciples were were adulterers and thieves. So why would somebody like a Bishop Patrick Wooden would have a problem no, scratch that. Would have no problem addressing Beyonce when he could have the power to reach out to Beyonce? While refuse and he won't reach out to Beyonce, and he will not address the Christian fascism that is coming in the United States government, and it almost worked in January 6, 2021. This is the reason why, if you go in the black community, just like what David Carroll said, you can go to any black community, you see churches with 5,000 members, upkept buildings, upkept parking lots and facilities. But the neighborhoods that surrounded the black stores, the black apartment complex, the black neighborhoods that surrounded the church is in disarray. I want to know, I want to have these bishops, these pastors, these clergymen. I wonder, do they ever go outside when they go in there on the Lincoln Continentals, their Mercedes Benz, and drive and see the rundown conditions in their own community that they claim to serve? And here's another thing that they seem to forgot. It also said in that Bible not to treasure things up in heaven, not on earth. That's another thing, though, these pastors don't seem to understand. While they trying to poverty shame the pews, while Uncle Sam is out there putting redlining in your hood. You're out there trying to boast about your wardrobe, while many in your community are naked, not clothed, not fed, not having the medical supplies to sustain their health. And you still will not even address the fascism, the toxic water, the lead pipes that is in Baltimore, Newark, Flint, Michigan. You will not address about these other issues, yet you worry about your wardrobe. And then y'all wonder why the black church is very, very, very desolate. Why you seeing a lot of scores of black men leaving the church? You don't want to do the intellectual heavy lifting. This is what this is about. This whole prosperity preaching. It's about vanity. This chasing singers and actresses and entertainers for YouTube and social media glory. does not supply justice and freedom and a guard against racism, bigotry, and corruption in general society, from general society. But I'm going to continue this video. It's a shame. I'm going to continue this video on to part 2, where I'm going to talk about why black men are leaning right, among other things. But before I go, I want somebody to ask this question to these black pastors. No, better yet. No, that's the wrong question. I shouldn't ask that question because that will be an unfair question. How come you, the people who go to these churches, never question your pastor about the evil of the counterpart that's among them? Well, Big J, what you talking about? I'm talking about, well, we got pastors out here who are, having sex with the church girls, like what Beyonce was trying to say. And no, I'm not here to defend Beyonce. I'm not here to defend any singer or any personality. My problem is the misguided, the pandering, and the foolish notions of the modern day black church. Instead of addressing the evil in our society, the fascism in our society, you rather do black on black, quote unquote, black on black drama, while ignoring the white racism that is coming your way. And no, I'm not talking about being racist against white people. This is about the alt-right, the neo-fascists, and Christian dominism, dominianism inside the mega churches, and yes, in organized religion. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time, and I'm out. I'm gonna take out and put 2 videos out coming up right after this. I'm out.